My driveway studio to learn about the Biamp Mixpak Plus, which is the amplifier we use for the point and swing big band. This is the amplifier with its cover on. We like to have this cover on because it protects the switches underneath. You take it off, you just lift it up, and then it pulls off its little hinges there. If you leave it on and you flip it back, you'll break those little hinges off. So take that off. Do not put it up here, because if you do that, you're going to be covering these ventilation holes, which must be open at all time. There's also ventilation on the bottom here, so you got to make sure this is all clear, or you're going to have an over temp and the thing will shut itself off. So we'll get to the front panel in a minute. I want to show you what we have in the back. This is the ONF switch, ONOFF switch, and it's a rocker switch that has a little 0 on it to show that it's off. So when you turn it on, you get power. These are the only outputs that go to speakers. It's the same output from each port, so it doesn't matter which. In other words, there's no left and right. You just plug it in and go to a speaker. Right now we have the monitor set up as the loudspeaker. The amplifier itself has a number of ports on it that we generally don't use. The reason you have these ports here is that you can output to other devices. The only thing you might want to use these for is to monitor with headphones, which is actually the output of the equalizer, but it's very close to what's going out the speaker. And also there's an input here that you can put the MP3 player in, a single channel. Inputs to the amp are either high Z or low Z. High is just a 1/4-inch jack. This is where I connect the MP3 player up. This is a right and left channel. The other part is just plugged into the player. A low Z is the typical 3-pronged microphone connector. You got to push it right in there. Notice how cleverly there's colored tape on this and on the mic end, and so if you're ever questioning which channel is which, you might look at the mic and see. This row of controls here allows you to control the level or the volume of each input. Typically I start out with all of these down, so when you plug in you don't do anything. These two knobs in the middle are essentially your treble and bass controls, independent of the main equalizer. So this is where if you have a problem balance with a mic or an instrument, or you have a singer that wants more treble, that's where you would do it. This monitor control is actually a separate circuit within the amp that allows you to output to a monitor. Again, note that there is a monitor out here, but this is an unpowered output. So you can't go from this to the monitor speaker. The way we hook that up is just to run it from one of the parallel inputs to the actual loudspeakers. The final knob on this is it's labeled effects, but what it really does is it mixes in the reverb level, which is also based on what this knob here is, the main reverb. So we'd turn the main reverb up, and then if you want to add it to a channel, you do it with this top knob. So typical, the position for all of these knobs is these effects are down, the monitor is down, and the others are mid-range. That's your typical flat response, and the bottom levels all start down. To operate the amplifier, you first turn on the ON/OFF switch, and it lights this bottom light here. It's kind of hard to see in the dark here, but the bottom light is the power, and this is the electric eye that tells you what your level is. The top one, if it turns red, it means you've engaged the clipping circuit because you've got too much of an input. So typically to test, I hook up the iPod, get it started, and then just add a little level. So it's coming out the speaker, you can hear it. So it's just a check. You can turn the reverb up, but it won't do anything unless you have these up. So you hear the difference? So typically turn that down. If you have that all the way up and one of these up and you hit the thing, you hear the spring. That. So what that is the spring on the inside banging against itself. That's how reverb works on this. So keep it down so when you kick the thing, the spring can bounce without making that sound. Another interesting trick with this is that if you get feedback, in fact I can set this up so you do that. We have the mic facing here, which is a big no-no. But if we, I'm going to turn it up. It's not doing it. Let's see. You hear it? What I'm doing, if you get feedback on a particular frequency, you just dampen it with the equalizer. And typically, this is all we would do with this. This should remain 0, which is flat. And if you need to take something out, you bring it down. So if we're getting feedback, one of the first things to check is this been moved up? So you're getting feedback because you're re-amplifying something a little bit too much.